it's always good to be home, particularly so after you go 2-9 on a road trip. So the Rockies return to the friendly confines at 20th and Blake. Coors Field, the spot tonight is the Rockies will play 3 against the Pirates, 3 against the Cubs, and then 2 against the San Francisco Giants. Hi once again, everybody, with George Frazier. I'm Drew Goodman. The Rockies end up going 17-16 without Troy Tulowitzki. Boy, do they ever need him back.
Well, they do need him back. They need the bat in there, the confidence that he brings to your ball club. And again, I said this earlier. He is a piece of the puzzle. He's just not the puzzle, but it's a big piece you need to fill.
No question about it. I mean, Troy Tulowitzki earned an all-star nod this year, well-deserved. He can hit around 300. He had 32 home runs last year. Any kind of production in that area, hitting in the 4-hole, would be of great benefit right now to the Rockies, who are struggling offensively. For more on Tulowitzki's story, we go down to the floor of the stadium, and Alana Rizzo. Alana?
All right, guys, thanks very much. Troy Tulowitzki went on the disabled list on June 17th in Minnesota, and he's been on there for 33 games. The Rockies, as you mentioned, 17-16 in those games. In his rehab in Colorado Springs and in Tulsa, it wasn't about the results. It was all about testing his wrist.
I played 2 games in Springs, and I went to Tulsa, just testing it out. You know, some of my best things I did down there were things that weren't good, such as swing and misses, you know, diving after balls, just testing it. That was my main focus down there, and I got that done, so I was happy about that, and I'm excited to be here now and help the team.
And his teammates are certainly happy, and the fans were very happy as he ran out here onto the field for the first time in about 5 weeks. He's very cautious, though. He says, I will not be the savior. I'm a part of a team, and I'm here to help, guys.
You know, he needs to understand that also, because the way he's driven, George, he's a guy who tries to hit a 3-run home run even if there's nobody on base, because he wants so badly to win.
Well, he wants badly to win and wants to accomplish what he wants to do, and that's get this team to postseason. I know Dave Hadzik, who's the hitting instructor in Tulsa, told me the first day he showed up in Tulsa, he took 150 cuts in the swings and 150 ground balls. He wanted to be prepared for this night when he got to Coors Field.
That sounds a lot like Troy Tulowitzki. Well, the Rockies got some unfortunate news, kind of an unfortunate event. It was a strange event. This happened about 2 hours ago during batting practice. Houston Street is down the right field line, and he gets hit by a line drive off the bat of Ian Stewart. The balls are always flying during batting practice. The ambulance, obviously, since he came on the field, he got hit in the lower abdomen area, and he did pass out a couple of times. Initially, he was standing up. Keith Duggar, the Rockies head trainer, went down there to visit with him, and that's when he sat down and he was feeling some discomfort, and they have taken him to a local hospital. We don't have an update as of yet. I'm sure we will before the ball game's over. You keep your fingers crossed Houston's okay. That's scary stuff,
well,
George. You pitch, you shag. I'm amazed more guys don't get hit.
Well, 100%. I mean, I was on the field when Steve Kemp got hit in the eye, and it really basically ended his career. So, yeah, you know, you're always trying to pay attention, but you can't pay attention to everything. When a ball's coming at you, another ball at you, let's just keep the fingers crossed that he's okay.
And, again, we'll keep you updated. So, Houston Street at a local hospital. They're taking a look at him and his condition, and we'll pass it along as soon as we know more. We'll come back, talk a little bit about the Pittsburgh Pirates. They have struggled once again this year. Pirates in town. They're 30 games beneath 500. Upstairs with George Frazier, I'm Drew Goodman. These Pirates have had 17 straight losing seasons. Undoubtedly, this will be 18 in a row. They do have some young talent that in time, George, I think will be very, very good.
Well, you hope it is. It really is. Pedro Alvarez, one of those guys that's up here right now, one of those young first-round draft picks. But everybody else, it seems unfortunate for them. They've had arm injuries with the #1 picks that they've had. But you look at the record, you see why. The batting average 14th, runs scored is last in the National League, home runs 14th, the ERA at 14th at 5.03. They have not had any luck whatsoever with first-round draft picks from the pitching perspective, where they said this is a college guy at a high-profile place that could get here in 2 years and help us, and then they have a blowout, a shoulder and elbow. It's been a bad situation for them for a while.
Yeah, their pen actually is pretty solid. Their starting pitching has not been good, as you described. We're ready to go. The Rockies and the Pirates. It is Text the Booth night. Come on back to Coors Field with us. In the midst of 17 in a row before an off day. That will come next Monday. And then the Giants are here Tuesday and Wednesday afternoon. There's Andrew McCutchen in his second year. He's one of the very good-looking young players for the Pirates. He can flat out fly. He swings the bat with some pop. Jose Tamada will bat second, and Neil Walker. Garrett Jones with a lot of power. Pedro Alvarez, former #1, Lastings Village, Ronnie Cedeno, Eric Kratz, and Zach Duke. First pitch brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Text keyword pizza followed by a space and your name to 95323 to receive your Domino's special offer and to be entered to win a pizza party for 12. Here's De La Rosa's first delivery. It's on the outside corner for a strike. Right at 93 miles an hour. This is the fourth start for Jorge since coming off the disabled list. He missed 10 weeks with that tendon issue in his finger. His first two, quite honestly, were not good. His last one in Florida, George, was very, very sound.
It was very, very good, and I thought that what he did was he controlled the strike zone very well over those 6 innings. Just 3 hits. He walked 3, struck out 8 through 97 pitches.
1 ball, 1 strike on McCutchen, who's hitting .375 against left-handed pitching this year. That's a changeup, fair ball, pulled down the line, and McCutchen will ease into second with a double.
You're not going to play on the line early in a ball game, and on a changeup, it allowed McCutchen to get his hands through the ball much quicker, and it just happened to stay inside the fair line. Let's look at see what we have on De La Rosa tonight. Fastball 90-95. You see the curveball, slider, and changeup. The changeup's what was shot down the left field line for a base hit. De La Rosa on the season 3-2 with a .565 earned run average.
And Jose Tabata will come up. Left fielder, formerly in the Yankees organization. And he's done a really nice job. He's hit .281. Over his last 13, he's been particularly hot. .389 batting average. Pirates were off yesterday. They were at home over the weekend. They got swept by the Padres. Rockies fans probably aware of that. Padres take care of business against the Pirates. 6-3 the final on Sunday. And thus the Pirates have lost 4 in a row. The distance, you see John Russell, their skipper. He's in his 3rd year. He went 62-99 last year.
Despite having an overall record of 163 and 258, was given a year extension on his contract along with the general manager. This franchise, once proud franchise, has scuffled for a long time.
Ever since Jim Leland won 3 straight division titles with Bonds and Bonilla, they've been awful. Fouled back, it's 0-2.
Well, Ted Simmons came in as a general manager, was asked to depart the money, try to rebuild with youth. It didn't work. Teddy now a bench coach with San Diego.
He's being mentioned at least in 1 or 2 cities as a potential managerial candidate.
And should be. De La Rosa's second most wins among left-handers in the history of the Rockies with 29, tied with Bo Hanna. Jeff Francis, as you would suspect, with 54 wins.
Jose Tabata at the plate with a 2-strike count. You got to be wary of McCutchen taking off against the left-hander. To tell you that McCutchen's flat would be a gross fast would be a gross understatement. He can really run.
But he gets antsy at second. Once he gets there, he wants to get to third base in the worst way, particularly with less than 2 outs. Sacrifice fly, get a run across. As we showed you, this is the team that is last in runs scored in the National League. Now ball down in the dirt. You can see it on the southwest camp. Good block. Tried to check the swing. It did. I was surprised to try to have him bunt this early in a ball game on the first pitch thrown by De La Rosa.
In this ballpark, that's fouled off. McCutchen from Fort Meade, Florida. Former #1 pick. He was top 10 pick his draft year. Defensively, the Rockies have Cargo in left, Fowler in center, Spilborghs in right, Moore and Tulowitzki. Good to see Troy back out there. Farmas and Hop. Olivo is behind the plate. So Brad getting his 3rd start at first base. And there's Troy. There's 33 ball games, and if you knew beforehand that the Rockies would be over 500 during that stretch, you'd say, hey, that's a pretty good thing. The Rockies held serve without Tulowitzki, their cleanup hitter, their leader on the field, their shortstop. The problem is they were so far over 500 before that trip. You know, had you won a couple of those 1-run games, George, you'd feel a lot better about what transpired the last 10 days. But there's no other way to describe it. It was a disaster.
Well, 2-9 doesn't help you at all. And again, you have to look at it. Here you are in July. Drive up the middle.
And McCutchen will score the first run of the ball game. The Pirates get a double and then a single. And it's 1-0. This is kind of how the ball game started in Florida for De La Rosa. It turned out to be a good outing, but he gave up the 2 runs he gave up early.
Well, just stayed to the middle of the field. Didn't try to do a whole lot with this fastball that was cutting to the middle. Went right through the wickets up the middle. Past De La Rosa and shot through. And with the speed of McCutchen, you're not going to have a play at the plate.
That'll bring up Neil Walker. He's another former #1 pick for the Pirates. He was drafted originally as a catcher. And he drags a bunt, and Moore is not going to have a play.
But it's not something that you anticipate out of a 3-hole hitter. To lay down a bunt. I mean, you're expecting him with 1 run on the board. You're in Coors Field. You're struggling that you're going to make this move. You're going to make it by swinging the bat, not laying a bunt down. Deep as Morris playing, no opportunity. I don't care. Brooks Robinson wouldn't have made the play. Let's take a look at the Suzuki keys to this ball game. Well, you're back home where you played great baseball. Home sweet home for the Rockies. Tulo's return to the lineup and to the field. And who's going to close today with the misfortunate accident that happened to Houston Street? If he did not see the open, he was hitting the lower abdomen today in batting practice.
Garrett Jones at the plate. A year ago, he had 21 home runs and 314 at bats, 293 average. He's got 12 home runs and 56 RBIs, which leads the Pirates this year. De La Rosa has allowed lefties to go just 3 for 21 against him this year.
I was going to say, it kind of plays into his hand now with Jones and Alvarez in the on-deck circle, both left-handed bats. But you have to throw strikes and work ahead.
1 ball, 1 strike. Double, a single up the middle, and then the bunt single by Neil Walker. 2 on, nobody out. The Pirates have a 1-0 lead. This is a double play ball. Tulowitzki will take it himself. Two outs. Toppin at a third. That'll bring up Pedro Alvarez.
Well, I watched Tulowitzki the other night in Tulsa, Oklahoma. When I saw him make kind of an acrobatic throw and a runner coming in on him at second base and make the double play, a little more difficult than that. I knew that he's seeing the ball in the range was well, and he displayed it here in the first inning. Both ball games Tulowitzki participated in. As you see Alvarez's numbers on the season, pretty good for the youngster. Tulsa drew over 6,500 fans in a new ballpark. Tulo, who played there before coming to the big leagues with the Rockies, still admired by a lot of people in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Pitch just off the plate, ball 1. Pedro Alvarez was born in Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic. He grew up in New York and then went to Vanderbilt, standing academic school, good baseball program as well, and was the first pick or the second pick in the first round of the 2008 draft. He has struggled left on left since being called to the big leagues. But he's already shown flashes. Last week, George, he had back-to-back 2 home run ball games.
Well, he does have that. I mean, he has the power. He has that ability. It's just this is the best league in the world. And once they find a hole, they're going to attack that hole.
Big man, 6'3", 225 pounds. Fastball's up at 95. It's 2-1 on Alvarez. Last year, he was the Pirates minor league player of the year. After a slow start, he had 288 with 27 homers and 95 ribbies. And that kicks away, and another run comes home. Boy, Olivo had no chance on that. That was a changeup that went about 55 feet. The wild pitch scores Tabata. I mean, De La Rosa had a very good chance with a left-handed hitter up there to get out of it, giving up just 1 run after 3 consecutive hits. But he throws an inordinate number of wild pitches.
Well, he does, and I think that's where you have to anticipate if you're going to see a slider curveball. This last pitch, slider at 86, it just explodes into the zone. Now, he did everything that he could do. He blocked to the outside, hoping to keep the ball within the shoulder widths, and just didn't do it. Now, that's, again, this is a part of De La Rosa that you hope he's able to control, and that's the emotional side of it. The wild pitch, let the run in. He ends up walking the left-on-left, who has struggled.
Well, this has not been the start he was looking for. 18 pitches in, and then you get a kid at the plate, albeit a kid with talent, but he's hitting 208 left on left, and you just walked him. And now you have Lasting's Millage at the plate, and Millage hitting .316 against lefties.
They say he's really grown up, George.
Well, everybody started to make the comparisons, and I didn't think they were fair when he was in New York and other places he had played. He had a Milton Bradley type attitude, and people now tell us that this is the greatest guy in the world. They just love him in the locker room, and I can understand that. Well, guys do get older. They get to understanding things a little bit better. There was a lot of pressure, I think, put on him as a young player.
Plus, he came up in New York with the Mets. He did get a lot of attention, and it's a tough place to begin your career.
Well, when you fail, it's magnified.
Ground ball to short. Tulowitzki will flip it to Barmes. The Rockies spot the Pirates 2 runs. Back to Coors Field right after this. To you by Quest high-speed internet. Get blazing fast speeds. It won't burn up your wallet. By E470, quick, easy, and available to anyone. Test drive it today. By Ford Taurus, the all-new Ford Taurus. It's America's most innovative full-size sedan. Ford Taurus, drive one. And by Brakes Plus, a whole lot more. Dexter Fowler will try to get the Rockies on the rebound. They trail it 2-0 already. Ryan Spilborghs tonight will hit right behind him. Ryan's been swinging the bat well. Cargo had 3 hits yesterday. Tulowitzki returns. Melvin Mora next. As that pitch is in there for a strike. The rest of the lineup: Olivo, Brad Hopp, Clint Barmes, and the pitcher De La Rosa. Zach Duke's on the hill. Not a guy that'll overwhelm you. And in his last start here at Coors Field, it was a forgettable one. He gave up 9 runs in 5+ innings.
Well, he's going to crossfire across the body a little bit. He's not going to come on a straight angle. He's going to work the outside corner, sink it, change speeds with it from both sides. Try to run a ball up in the strike zone on right-handers occasionally.
And Dex rolls one to third. Alvarez, showing good arm strength, throws out Fowler.
Now let's take a look at the scouting report on Mr. Duke. You're going to understand what Drew and I are talking about. Fastball, it will touch 91 comfortably, 86, 88, 89 in that range. Curveball, slider, changeup, he will use all 4. Well, since coming off of the disabled list, he's made a couple of starts, 11 innings, 11 hits, an earned run average of 3.27. Interesting note, out on the road he has struggled, and he has struggled mightily through his career. 2-4 with a 650 earned run average. But on the road, Drew, his record 13-35. Tough luck.
Yeah, this year his ERA over 6 out on the road. He misses ball 1 on Ryan Spilborghs. Spilborghs 2 for 4 with a ribby yesterday. 8 for his last 15 over 4 ball games. And it's 2-0. Rockies lost 5 one-run ball games on that 2-9 trip. And they basically undid all that they had done on the previous homestand. That's a line drive, gloved by Cedeno, 2 outs. They went 8-2 on the previous homestand, moved within 2 games of first place with the Padres, and the Rockies now 8 back beginning play today. Because the Padres have continued to play good baseball. Defensively, Tabata, McCutchen, and Millage in the outfield. Alvarez, Cedeno, Walker, Gary Jones, and behind the plate is Kratz. 5th start for Eric Kratz. He was just called to the big leagues. Ryan Domit is on the disabled list. Carlos Gonzalez with 2 outs.
Well, a report on Kratz, a guy that can really throw it behind the plate, receives the ball very well, has struggled hitting wise, and at the big league level he's hitting a buck 105 actually.
And this is chopped up the middle. Good range by Cedeno, and it's a 1-2-3 start for Zach Duke. Pirates leading 2-0 as we go to inning number 2 at Coors Field. NYTEX booth, followed by a space, and then your questions at 95323. It's brought to you by Office Liquidators and OfficeLiquidators.com, Colorado's largest selection and lowest prices of office furniture. Ronnie Cedeno out of the 7th hole will lead things off against Jorge De La Rosa, looking for a more expedient inning here in the 2nd. De La Rosa threw 21 pitches in the 1st inning. 3 straight hits greeted him. McCutchen double. Tabata base hit up the middle. A bunt single by Walker. Then he got a double play ground ball off the bat of Garrett Jones. Had a chance to get out of it with only 1 run given up. And he bounced a pitch to Pedro Alvarez that Miguel Oliva was unable to block. And on that wild pitch, Tabata scored.
Cedeno, another one of those middle infielders that has good hands. Saw that exhibited earlier on a play.
He was part of the Jack Wilson deal with Seattle last year.
Swung about will bat very well here in July. 400 average. June really struggled. A buck 21.
He got benched for a while in June, was in the doghouse, but he has come on of late, as you mentioned. And Sunday, hit a ball out of the ballpark for the first time since May. Here's the 1-2, and it's on the ground to Tulowitzki deep in the hole. Oh, he can still do that. How about the pickup by Brad Hopp? That was Helton-esque.
Well, not the first time. Obviously, Brad's been over there. I know you and Jeff discussed an awful lot of it when he made those 2 other starts at first base, but he's very comfortable at first. We mentioned this a year ago. Todd Helton was 63 picks out of the dirt. Brad Hopp just waited on the ball to get to him after the stretch. Watch how he stretched to the baseball on the Hyundai cam to the point, the shortest point to get to the baseball and still accomplish the out. Very good play.
I know he used to play there, but for a guy that's playing there for the 3rd time really in about the last 8 years. That's a heck of a play. Look out. Eric Kratz with a base hit.
Somebody went back inside, told him that he'd struggled with the bat. He wanted to show everybody in Denver, I'm not totally struggling with it. We got a fastball at 94 miles an hour, trying to get the ball down in the zone, stayed a little bit up and out over the plate. Driven right back up the middle off the glove of De La Rosa.
Zach Duke in a bunting situation. Duke's a good athlete.
Rockies catchers are ranked 9th throwing out base runners in major leagues. Guess what Pittsburgh's ranked? 30th. Not to keep beating up on this ball club, because obviously they're trying to turn things around over there.
You like to say they have to be patient, but the fans have been patient for 17 years. That's going to go foul. Take a look at our first text message of the night. It's about Houston Street. Can't believe what happened in Houston. What kind of precautions are generally taken during BP to protect the players? It's up to the players to protect themselves. You got to have your head turned around when you're out on the field. And again, Houston today was hit by a line drive off the bat of Ian Stewart during batting practice. He was well down the right field line. He was hit in the lower abdomen area on the right side. Stood there for a few minutes and then went down to the ground. And he did, according to Keith Duggar, pass out a few times as Zach Duke is gone. And he was taken to a local hospital where they're obviously running tests on him. And as soon as we have information, we'll pass it along. He clearly will not close for the Rockies tonight. And you talk about a miserable trip and then bad news when you get home. And that was another punch in the gut to Jim Tracy. Andrew McCutchen at the plate. He pulled a changeup right down the third base line to begin the ball game, and would come around to score on the top of a base hit.
And that time too, if they're going to throw him soft stuff in, and this is what some adjustments made. Moore was only about 2 steps off the line. If you're going to in left-handed throwing soft stuff in, typically the right-handed hitter is going to pull the baseball. So Moore repositioned himself once. You see, as far out as Moore is, he can see what the signals are that Olivo's calling. And so he can adjust from that. You got to hit your spot, though, as a pitcher. In the first inning, this is what we're talking about. Moore playing normal position that you would at third base, even with the bag, taking care of the bunt. This ball just shot right down the line. Fair. You mentioned what the Pirates are doing to change things. Mike Basso, a Major League scout, was hired. Keith Champion, a long-time respected scout, hired. And Larry Corrigan came over from the Minnesota Twins, was hired as a special assistant. Pete Vukovich, special assistant to the general manager there. They've gone out and kind of revamped their scouting department. They don't have the finances to sign big-time free agents. And not only that, how many want to go there when you're not playing good baseball?
Yeah, but, you know, the last couple of years, believe it or not, the Pirates, because of their high draft position, have spent more money on draft picks than any other organization in baseball.
But they do that to control that young player and have him for 6 years. Good pitch.
Good pitch. De La Rosa with his second strikeout of the inning. He gets McCutchen with Kratz at first. 2-0. The Pirates leading. Tulowitzki will be up first. 2-0 Pittsburgh. We go to the bottom of the second inning, and Troy Tulowitzki just got a warm reception when he was announced. He's a fast healer. He missed only 33 games. There was speculation it could be up to 2 months, but Tulowitzki back when the Rockies need him most. Tonight is game number 100. So including this one, 63 contests left. And he picked a good team to come back against because he's always torn up the Pittsburgh Pirates in his career. He takes strike one. He had 394 against the Pirates last year. That misses 1-1. In his career, listen to this. He is 32 for 71 with 5 home runs against the Pirates. That's a .451 average. That's a strike, 1-2. So, George, last year he hit 394 and he went immediately to the batting cage. He's like, what's the matter? I can't hit against these guys anymore.
Well, this is the type of guy that really hurts Duke, too, because he's the 4 holes hit .419 against him on the season.
Inside.
Everything was away, soft, added a little bit of velocity on the fastball, then take a lot off, and then all of a sudden now he's going to throw a big bender on the inner half of the plate to try to get him to chase. Problem was it just stayed up. It didn't have more bite down than it did sideways. Yes, they tried to get him on the front foot, trying to roll over the ground ball. Change up, he swung over the top of it.
So Tulowitzki's gone, 1 out, and that'll bring up Mills and Mora. Let's check in again with Alana Rizzo for tonight's great Colorado Payback Sideline Report.
Guys, so much has been made about how much this team needed Troy Tulowitzki to come back, but you can't expect him to be the answer for everything the Rockies have had in terms of struggles over the last couple of weeks. Talking to Troy earlier today, he said, you know what? I'm only here to help this team. I'm just one of the guys.
That's what everybody thinks is going to happen. That since I'm coming back, all of a sudden something magical is going to happen. We're going to win all kinds of games. Reality of it is that's not how it's going to be. I'd like to contribute with the same team. I'm not no savior, and I'm not going to turn this thing around by myself. It's a team game, and I'm going to need all those guys in the locker room with myself to turn it around.
Guys, the key is just not doing too much.
Well, that's not just Troy talking. That's Jim Tracy talking to Troy, and then Troy regurgitating what his manager told him, because his personality is, I want to take care of this and get on my back, and we're going to get this ship straightened out. Base hit from Mora, Rocky's first base runner. Miguel Olivo will step up. Miguel had a good ball game yesterday, a couple of hits.
He's maintained his average, 307, 12 home runs, 43 RBIs. He's on pace to knock in more runs than he did a year ago.
That gets away, and it was not a foul ball. So Mora moves up. See, the Rockies can take advantage of the wild pitch by Zach Duke.
Well, let's see if it's a wild pitch, or see if Kratz maybe whiffed on it. Ball's going to be down into the dirt, well in front of the dirt. Man, oh man, Oliva firing on the first pitch no matter what on the Hyundai cam. That ball hit way out in front of home plate. It bounced away from him. When a ball gets that far out in front of a catcher, it's hard just to lay down and block. A lot of times they try to reach out and pick it, which is not necessarily the right way to do things.
Oh, what a play by Oliva if he can get the first. That's a great play by Zach Duke. And we told you last inning, Duke is a very good athlete. And if he is not real nimble, George, I don't know how many pitchers make this play from the left side.
Well, what helps him is because he falls off in this direction, so it allows him to get to the baseball because he crossfires. That allowed him to get to it. Instead of spinning to the third base side, he probably wouldn't have had an opportunity to get to it. But because of where he falls off on the mound, that helps shorten the gap and be able to make the play. But a good idea by Miguel Olivo. You watch on the Hyundai cam, out by about 1.5 feet.
Well, when he bunted it, I didn't think there was a play for Duke. Here's Brad Hopp. And Brad takes ball one, trying to find his swing, as we've told you. He's 1 for his last 18 at the plate.
Well, the opposition doing one of two things, either going soft stuff away and repeating it, or pounding the fastball in on his hands. Philadelphia, Brad Lidge yesterday lived on the inner half of the plate, as they had throughout the whole road trip. Brad was having difficulty firing at that inside pitch. And I always felt if I caught a guy crowding the plate as a pitcher, that he would go inside. Yet I talked to great hitters and asked them, why are you crowding the plate? Larry Walker, even Brad Hopp when he's going right. They want the ball in and they fire in when the ball comes. They're letting the bat hit go.
That missed being a double by about 4 feet. What's the status of Todd Helton? Is he going to be back this year? Will the Rockies look for a first baseman before Saturday? Those questions from Justin. Todd took batting practice out on the field. He's been home the last 5 days while the Rockies were in Philadelphia working on strengthening his legs. And in terms of when Todd comes back, and it's probably in the near future, and what you get when he comes back is anybody's guess. Todd Helton doesn't know.
Well, not till he gets out and swings the bat and plays the game. I mean, that's the best way to put it. That's why he's going on a rehab when he does get ready.
And George, honestly, it may be one of those situations where you got to rest him a lot. I mean, going into the season, they felt like, okay, maybe once every 10, 12 days. It may be where he plays 3 days a week.
Well, the success rate of Giambi will help allow you to do that.
This is pulled to first, and it's bobbled for a moment, but the recovery made by Garrett Jones. So the Rockies leave Melvin Moore at third. We go to the third. 2-0 Pittsburgh. Neil Walker, Garrett Jones, 2, 3, and 4 for the Bucks against Jorge De La Rosa. Drew Goodman upstairs with George Frazier and our old friend John Aragoni. John's from the Boys and Girls Clubs in Denver. He's the CEO and president. And this is one of the great organizations in this country. You guys do so much good for so many young people, and particularly here in this region.
Thank you, Drew. Yeah, we work hard. We're serving 37,000 kids across the state of Colorado, and we're committed, that's for sure.
You have a national spokesman, at least you did. I hope I'm not putting my foot in my mouth, but Denzel Washington, I know nationally, has done a lot with the Boys and Girls Club. This pitch is fouled off down the right field line, 1-1. And I know we've been promoting this. You have a big fundraiser coming up, and you're going to tell us a little bit more about it.
I am. It's the Rocky Mountain Raffle. It's to benefit Boys and Girls Club kids throughout Colorado. And, for a mere $100 ticket, the grand prize winner can win $1 million in cash.
Guys, just getting ready to say, this just isn't your normal church raffle now. You're talking about $1 million in cash. That's $1 million.
$1 million, George, or a luxury condominium at Spire right here in downtown
No
Denver
kidding.
on the 41st floor.
Wow.
It's beautiful. It really is.
Well, there's a lot of other things you get out of this raffle, too. I've noticed some pickups. You got some cars. You got trips.
The idea is to buy early because there's over 100 prizes, including a trip to Tuscany, a trip to China and Tibet, lots of cash, 2 vehicles, and the earlier you get in, the more opportunities you have to win.
And the more you buy.
How many tickets do you have on you?
And do you take Visa or MasterCard?
I take Visa, I take MasterCard.
Yeah, baby, I love it.
And I guarantee you, Drew, we've got lots of tickets for you.
Perfect. So, hey, put 10 for me and 5 for Frazier on Frazier's Visa card.
You got it. I'm not leaving without the numbers.
There you go.
We're only going to sell 30,000, so you've got to get them now.
Swung on and missed, and another strikeout for De La Rosa. That's 3 in a row as he gets Tabata.
You know, he said that when you sit down, you and I were talking off camera, and it's not, you know, when you think boys clubs, girls clubs, you think athletics, you think basketball, you think wrestling. But I've worked with the one at Boys Club North in Tulsa. There's so many kids that walk in that are hungry.
So many
after
kids.
school. They need tutoring. They need everything, and they provide all that.
Health and life skills, education, the arts, technology, sports and fitness. We do it all to build a better community for kids.
We're involved with FSN with the Wilfley branch, as you well know. Not too far from here as the crow flies, probably about a mile from here, a mile and a half. And to me, the great thing explained through, George touched on this, for kids to be a member, it's extremely inexpensive, and there's so many great programs beyond just athletics.
You know, it costs $2 a year for a young person to have access to all of our programming throughout the year. And you know, sadly enough, most of the kids we serve are, you know, low-income, poor kids receiving free and reduced lunch. We're serving 1,500 meals a night to kids during the school year.
There's so many parents out there that work, and there's so many parents, kids that only have one parent.
Right. Oh, you're absolutely right, George. And you're so right to say that we're not a swim gym operation. This is all about helping kids do better in school, live healthier lifestyles, and we're up to be very successful like you two guys.
Well, I think what it did for a lot of kids, and I participated as a young kid in Springfield, Missouri, is it gives us some goals in life. Right. It helps them realize I can get out of here, I can be successful, I need to do what I need to do. And it's all here for me.
It's well said. And, you know, I'd be remiss. I want to thank FSN Rocky Mountain. You guys have just been strong supporters of the Boys and Girls Clubs and clubhouse sponsor at Wilfley, and also the entire organization of the Colorado Rockies. They do a lot for us and for the kids all throughout the state. Can't thank you enough.
Well, this is a great fundraiser. Where will some of the money go? I mean, we've touched on it. There's obviously the after-school food programs, the computers that are accessible as the ground ball to first, and tough play for Hop. And he gets it to De La Rosa very quickly before we go to break, because I know you have to run.
Yes.
But where will most of the money go?
Well, most of the money will go to support the programming all throughout Colorado to help save and change the lives of kids.
Terrific. John, it's great to see you.
Drew, thank you for having me.
All right. Continued good luck with the Boys and Girls Club in Colorado. Buy those tickets. All right, Boys and Girls Club. Help them out. We'll be back. 2-0. It looks like George De La Rosa has settled in.
He has settled in because he's throwing the strikes. He's throwing strikes with a couple of pitches, which has allowed him to get some of the left-handed hitters, some of their power hitters, out on their front foot. Unfortunately, Duke is starting to do the same thing, just starting to change speeds with it. He's starting to work both sides of the plate. He's kind of shelved the breaking ball tonight, meaning the curveball, but he's been able to throw the slider a lot.
Well, again, our thanks to a good man. We've met him before, and he does so much good in our community with the Boys and Girls Clubs. John Aragoni. And there, again, is the site you want to go to, RockyMountainRaffle.com. Purchase those tickets for $100. Believe me, the money will be well spent. It's RockyMountainRaffle.com. And I know, George, you mentioned the work you've done in Tulsa with the Boys and Girls Clubs. It's a great organization.
It really is a wonderful organization. And again, it's not just as he put, a swim and gym club. You know, there's computer rooms, and the one in Tulsa, the ones here that we go out and do the baseball clinic with here. And so many kids from the region come in for that baseball clinic. There's usually close to 500 kids that are bussed in by those boys clubs to participate. Some of the Rockies, Jeff Francis has been out there, Eric Young Jr. has been out, Todd Helton's been out at different times. Cargo has been out this year. So, I mean, you're able to touch somebody's life that cares. And I think that's the big thing about these kids.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Clint Barmas. 0 for his last 15. But Barmas has swung the bat pretty well against Zach Duke in the past. Not this time, though. He's gone. Zach Duke with his second strikeout. And that'll bring up De La Rosa. Today's E470 Road Ahead brought to you by E470. Quick, easy, and available to anyone. Test drive it today. Pirates are here for 3. Then the Cubs come in. Monday, finally an off day. And then it's a very short series with the Giants Tuesday night, Wednesday afternoon. And then the Rockies go to Pittsburgh for 4. So they'll see the Pirates 7 times in the next 2 weeks. And despite the fact that they're 34 and 64, it's still a big league team. But George, the Rockies need to take care of business against teams that are really struggling, and few teams are struggling like the Pirates.
Well, they are. I mean, and this is a team, and we've shown everything to you, 14th ranked in this and that, and the pitching's not good. The starting pitching has really struggled. And you're right, this is an area you got to get better at. A couple of these teams like Pittsburgh, and you hope the Mets continue to struggle as they've struggled with their starting staff. They're not winning a lot of baseball games. It's there for you.
2 outs, nothing cooking for the Rockies as they flip the order over to Dexter Fowler. With Tulowitzki returning, will Herrera get some time at second, or will Barmas get the bulk of the opportunities? Brian in Centennial. Brian, it's a great question. It's a very, very fair question. One of the things the Rockies learn, you always learn something when somebody gets hurt that plays every day. The Rockies learned that Jonathan Herrera is maybe a little bit more, or maybe a lot more, than just a utility player. He had more at bats and hit higher than anybody else on the Rockies roster when Tulo was out, and he has forced himself into the mix. Barmas got the start tonight. He had good numbers against Zach Duke, but I would not be at all surprised to see Herrera out there. A 50-50 split, we'll see. But Johnny Herrera is going to play.
He's going to play, but I think what Clint Barmas does bring to the table, he's 3rd on the team in RBIs with 43. He hits in the 8-hole every day. He's going to give you excellent defense, leadership, and playing the game the right way. It's difficult. There's only 1 second base, and you got 2 guys that should be in it. That's the hard part, to juggle it around to get the matchups that you like. So when you have a tough right-hander, then go ahead and put Johnny in the ballgame.
3 balls and a strike on Fowler. Here's the beauty, though, George, as you well know, about Clint Barmas. You don't just have to play him at second. You could play, and that's ball 4, you could play Herrera and Barmas together. Herrera plays second. Barmas could play at 3rd. He could play 1st. He could even play in the outfield if he needed to. And the Rockies have a lot of depth in the outfield.
Well, I think the one thing about Clint, you want to keep his glove on the infield somewhere, because he just makes too many plays in the field with his range and the ability to go get the baseball.
Yep, no question about it. And when he catches fire with the bat, he'll hit some over the wall. He had a very good June. He had a good first 2 weeks in the month of July. There were 2 outs. Fowler at first. And that'll bring up Spilborghs, who lined to short. Alvarez on the move. Boy, he's got a strong arm. And Alvarez throws out Spilborghs, and the Rockies again go pretty quickly and quietly. 2-0 Pirates. Rocks won for calmly and quietly. Safety first. We've seen some injuries.
I kind of like the can.
Morales.
I like the can.
And Rocks 2 for enthusiasm. You know what? Just be careful with the enthusiasm. How about last night with the pie in the face? Chris Coughlin tears up his knee. Could be out 8 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, that's you're trying to have fun. You're enjoying the win. Just don't be crazy.
Go to Brakes Plus this month. Get $25 off any brake service, $10 off any oil change. Pedro Alvarez walked his first time up. 2 in the first for the Bucs. Jorge De La Rosa. That's the best curveball he's thrown tonight.
Well, took off a lot of velocity and just used his arm strength and spin and feel of the baseball to get it across the plate. That surprised everyone. Tell you what, you look at Pedro Alvarez's lower half of his body. This is a thick kid that hadn't been out of college very long. Drafted in 2008. It's a #1 draft pick.
He went to a private school in New York, Horace Mann, and he had a great career there. He was the New York State Player of the Year. Here's the 0-2. Swung on and missed. But De La Rosa with his 5th strikeout. That'll bring up Lastings Millage. This date in history is brought to you by Dex One. July 27th, 1984, Pete Rose passes Ty Cobb for most career singles as he reaches base against Steve Carlton. For Rose, it was his 3,053rd single. He would finish his 24-year career with 3,215 singles of his 4,256 hits. Lastings Millage grounded to short his first time. Big fan of Ocho Cinco, obviously, wearing number 85. Couldn't think of who wears 85 for the
Well,
Steelers.
you know what? When you first
I had
come
to go with Ocho Cinco.
when you first come to the big leagues, typically you're assigned a high number as an invitee, and who knows? Maybe this is the number he got when he first came to the big leagues and wanted to go back and start over. Maybe there is a meaning behind 85 when you've been in the big leagues as long as he has, for him to wear that number. Similar to the first guy I remember doing it was Pudge, when he went from 27 and traded to the White Sox, and he went to 72 because 27 was taken or retired with the White Sox. So
He flipped to 72.
2-1. Good pitch. 2-2. And you're referring to Carlton Fisk.
Carlton Fisk.
The other Pudge.
The first Pudge.
The first Pudge.
Yeah. Good breaking ball down and in. And now all of a sudden hitters start to tell you where their weakness is. So you go attack that weakness and go right back in again. And try to get the strikeout.
We go away 2-2. And this is chopped off of Village's foot.
Well, it was intended to go away. It appeared to cut in on him. He got out in front of that fastball at 95. Look on the Hyundai cam, you can see that ball rotate, see the catcher's glove rotate back to the inside corner. He is going to fire at the baseball on the middle half and down. And that really hurt. As a pitcher, you go right back in there again.
Boy, De La Rosa is on some kind of roll now, George. He has struck out 6 of his last 7. He can do that.
He can blow some people up in a hurry, and I think that's the one thing that De La Rosa makes so attractive as a starting pitcher. And he does it in short counts. In other words, on a 1-2 count, you're gone. Make it 2-2. Even a 2-2 count, get the strikeouts. He doesn't have a tremendously high pitch count, even though he strikes out a high number in a game.
2 outs, nobody on. Ronnie Cedeno robbed of an infield hit by Tulowitzki his first time up. If you were worried that maybe Troy being inactive for 5-6 weeks had lost some range, think again.
I mean, he didn't eat a lot?
He didn't lose any range, didn't lose any arm strength either. 1-1.
Well, because the break was on the left wrist, it allowed him to go ahead and continue to throw the baseball through this time frame so you don't lose that arm strength as you normally would coming to spring training.
One and two. Here's that gem we were talking about. Cedeno's first time up.
All about getting the break in the position to throw the baseball, and he got a lot of help on the other side of that with Brad Hopp in the pitch.
Boy, that was a good looking play by Hopp as well. 1-2 on Ronnie Cedeno. Pirates hitting in the 4th with a 2-0 lead. And yeah, there it is. I thought it was a punch out. It took Jeff Kellogg a moment to tell us. That is 7 strikeouts in the last 8 hitters for De La Rosa. Get him some runs. SN is brought to you by AT&T. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, rethink possible. By Dex One, marketing solutions, business results. By Old Chicago, eat, drink, be yourself. and by Hyundai Uncensored. Real people, real comments on the 2011 Hyundai Sonata. Visit your Colorado Hyundai dealers today. Zach Duke with a strike on Carlos Gonzalez. Gonzalez bounced to short his first time up. Zach Duke snapped a 5-game losing streak with a victory in his last outing against the Milwaukee Brewers. 1-1.
Well, Drew mentioned it. They did make some changes in their bullpen. Brendan Donnelly was designated for assignment, out. They brought up Steven Jackson, a right-hander, and Ledesma, a left-hander, to go along with former Rocky Javier Lopez.
Javi Lopez, who had a lot of success, Fraze, with the Red Sox the last 4 years.
But their bullpen has been improved. Their bullpen is fairly good. They have 2 or 3 guys they can close with, although Dotel's the guy that gets the majority of it. He's 20 of 25 in save opportunities.
He was throwing very well for them down there. Joel Hanrahan.
Hanrahan has. Gallagher has thrown the ball well. He's been around with a couple of clubs.
And their only all-star was Eric Meek, who can run it up close to 100.
And out of their bullpen.
3-1 on Gonzalez. Outside, ball 4. So Cargo, a leadoff walk. And that'll bring up Tulowitzki. Time to go outside the box with Jack in the box. This year, players hitting the cleanup spot. It's the domain when he's healthy of Troy Tulowitzki. He's batting .292 there in 52 ball games. Giambi's done a great job when he has hit cleanup, .344 average. And you see the rest of the players that have occupied that spot. Brad Hopp, the third most at 15 ball games. Outside the box, brought to you by Jack in the Box.
59 RBIs up there with those guys that had hit in the 4-hole for the Rockies. Of course, Tulowitzki with most at bats and most success.
And that pitch misses, ball 1.
Surprise.
Tulo's got fans everywhere. Tulo's back. They were prepared.
What high school are they cheering at?
Right now, Coors Field High. Second walk for Zach Duke. What suffers more after missing 33 games, the bat or the glove? Todd Laramie, George?
The bat. Obviously, the timing of the pitches and getting used to that. Even though he went down and had 7 at-bats in Tulsa and about 5 at-bats at Colorado Springs, it's all about timing at the plate.
This ball's driven to center field, and McCutchen gets over and makes the catch. That ball was hit very hard. McCutchen gets good jumps, and even if he doesn't, George, he can outrun the baseball.
Well, he can. He's got such great speed. You looked it up prior to the game of how quick he was on the track, not just on the baseball field in high school, but he made that play look a lot easier than what it really was. It was all about the break and the move on the Hyundai cam to get to the baseball.
Melvin Mora has the Rockies' only hit. Line drive through the hole on the left side. With 1 out in the second, he got as far as third base.
I mentioned a minute ago the Pirates last in the major leagues throwing out would-be base stealers. So I think that's the attention that maybe they've tried. John Russell trying to get more attention put to holding runners on.
Though Zach Duke is tough to run on.
Well, he mixes it up. That time he had a little bit of a semi-slide step that he came straight to the plate, but it was quick after getting a signal from Kratz at the plate. Earlier he tucked the knee, went to the first base area. John Russell, a former catcher in the big leagues, controls an awful lot of the running game.
You're not going to see it here, but Moore can handle the bat and shoot it the other way if you get in a more desirable count for a hit and run. You're scuffling on offense, and you're in charge as Jim Tracy as you find every way to get something going. This is lifted to left field. The easy play for Tabata. With 2 outs, Miguel Oliva will come up.
Well, you want to be one of the first 10,000 fans through the gates on August the 1st. That you'll receive a Frontier Airlines luggage tag for that ball game. August the 1st. Go to ColoradoRockies.com and pick up a ticket for that game. Fourth different movie shown at first. And that's, you know, most guys are get themselves into a pattern, particularly when they're working in the middle of a lineup. Tulowitzki, obviously, deep fly ball more.
I think it's the responsibility of any pitcher, despite no matter their talent level. And there's the pickoff, and Gonzalez is gone. It'll go as a caught stealing. 1-3-6. Oh, hold on. We may have a balk. We have a balk called by the home plate umpire, Jeff Kellogg. Pittsburgh's got to get back on the field. I was saying, George, it's responsibility of any pitcher, especially if you're Zach Duke, you don't have overwhelming stuff. You better control the running game.
Well, you have to, particularly from the left side. I mean, it's just an advantage to be able to do this. Let's see who called this balk. Was it the home plate umpire? See, I think the first base umpire may have called it. And again, he's the only guy, the home plate umpire. You could see Jim Tracy alerting to the umpires exactly what was going on. That's a late call on the ball. Glad they got it their way. Now get a base hit, drive in the run, cut this to 1.
Olivo at the plate. And he takes strike 1.
And there was no argument from John Russell out of their dugout whatsoever. And again, there's some umpires that will argue a balk call, some won't. They say you can't, or it's an automatic ejection, but a lot of umpires will allow them to argue the balk call. Youngster out at second, Alan Porter.
This ball's driven to left center field, and the catcher has run it down again. Wow.
Zach Duke had started to walk to home plate going, you know, you call that balk on, you cost me a run. Oh, never mind. What a catch.
Because you have the anchor on a 4x400 relay team out in center field. I didn't think there was any way he was going to get this one. He got it easy.
Staff and media relations. There's still no update on the condition of Houston Street. They have definitely told me that as soon as they know an update, they will pass on the information to us, and we will pass it on to the viewers at home. But I did talk to Ian Stewart after the ball game as he addressed some of the media about what happened today when he hit Houston Street with that line drive in batting practice. He said, I hit the ball and I saw it hit Houston, but at first he didn't go down. He said, I knew it hit him, and I knew it probably hurt because I hit it really hard, but I didn't realize to what extent everything was what was happening. And he also said, you know what, all I can do is pray for him. It was just such a freak accident. He said that kind of seems the way that things have been going with us this season. Just freaky things are happening. He said, I just hope it's not that bad, guys.
Yep, everybody thinking the same way. Houston was down for at least 15-20 minutes as the ambulance made its way on the field. And George, I said this to you during the pregame, and I'll say it to you again now. And you were out in the big leagues for a decade, running around the outfield. You've gone through thousands of batting practices. Here's a line drive, gloved by Tulowitzki. Kratz is gone. I'm amazed more guys don't get hurt because, folks, not all the players are always attentive to what's going on in the cage.
Well, part of the reason is because you're running out onto the field.
I mean, it's not like you're messing around.
No, but you're running out onto the field. That's when most guys get hurt, is when they're running onto the field and somebody will say something and they'll turn their head from the cage. I mean, you're taught from a very young, early age, when you walk in between those white lines, check out the plate at all times. And, you know, it's an unfortunate situation because the Houston was down in the right field corner. You feel like you're tucked away, the ball just found it. And that's the unfortunate side of it. I mentioned in the pregame show that Steve Kemp, a teammate of mine with the New York Yankees, was behind second base or behind shortstop going across, and Winfield was swinging the bat. So, you know, a big man at the plate. And it hit him right in the eye. And it was in the eye socket, and it broke the eye, and he was never the same player again. And again, this is the dangers of doing it. Houston, I hope everything's fine. I hope you're able to watch the game tonight. Obviously, as a Centire Stadium and viewing audience, thoughts are with you.
And the other place you see it, George, is when the home team is usually in their last round of batting practice, the last group. That's when the visiting team, as McCutcheon's at the plate with 2 outs. The visiting team has come out on the field. Generally, teams stretch out on the field, and then they'll start to get loose in terms of throwing, and they'll work down one of the lines, and they'll be out kind of in the midst of the home team taking batting practice. And those guys are playing catch. And a lot of times guys will only look when they hear one of the other players on the home team yell, "Hey, look out." It's a ground ball to Hobb. He couldn't get it, Brad. Another strong inning by De La Rosa. He's retired 11 in a row after giving up 2 in the first, but the Rockies had just 1 hit. As we move to the bottom of the 5th inning, Brad Hobb, Clint Barmas, and Jorge De La Rosa. Let's take a look at our Excel Energy fun fact. 3 teams have been involved in 3 no-hit games in a single season. Tampa now has, after the Matt Garza no-hitter last night, the Browns and the Chicago White Sox in 1917. Brad Hobb drives one to deep left center. Can McCutcheon get this one? Nobody's going to get it. Al good as that look off the bat of Brad Hopp? It has been a while. Brad won for his last 19. Goes opposite field yard, around 400 feet. His 6th bomb of the year. 2-1 ball game.
And he started to make a move that this center fielder that's caught a lot of baseball. McCutcheon started to make a move on this baseball. He said the Hyundai cam, fired on a ball down and in. It really had an opposite field swing on the pitch. And he just drove it. His strength, his power, carried that ball out of the ballpark.
0-1 on Clint Barnes. First home run for Brad Hopp since June the 20th against the Brewers. And here's something interesting. He has 6 home runs this year, battled injuries, as you know. Half of Brad's home runs have been against left-handed pitchers.
I say the whole thing, and I've said this many times about Brad Hopp. The way he conducts himself lends for him to be successful. He doesn't have peaks and valleys. He could hit 4 more.
This ball's hit pretty well by Barnes. And this one's gone. The Rockies have tied it up. They've got back-to-back. Number 8 for Barnes.
That's what you talked about, Clint Barnes, his ability to leave the yard. I mean, last year hit 20-plus home runs, drove in 75-plus RBIs, and the ability to do that and still catch the baseball and turn double plays. It's hard to take this out of the lineup with 44 RBIs, hitting out of the 8-hole for the majority of the time. And very quickly, what looked like a gem was being spun by Zach Duke. You'd only given up 1 hit. You got a tie ball game with 2 swings.
Here's the 0-1 on De La Rosa, 0-2. What are the odds of De La Rosa making it back-to-back-to-back?
As much as you winning the condo at the Boys and Girls Club's draw, which you buy the 25 tickets.
All right. Well, I guess you're right. De La Rosa's gone, first out of the inning, but the Rockies have tied it up. First time they've gone back-to-back since May the 27th. It is the 4th time they've gone back-to-back this year. Yeah, right now Doug Marino, who's our stats guru up here, has that Keith Olbermann thing going. The Rocks pitchers home run drought now 6 years, 2 months, 29 days. Dexter Fowler takes a breaking ball for a strike. Dexter walked his last time up. Both balls almost in identical places, and the Rockies really need, here's stating the obvious, but they really need Brad Hopp to get going here in the final couple of months. Yeah, they've been trying to run a race, George, not on 4 tires. They're trying to run a race most of this year on 2 tires.
Well, they really have. They've struggled with this pitching staff, and then all of a sudden the offensive side of things went out. Things are starting to look up and out.
Here's our Geico quote of the day. Dizzy Dean back in September of 1934. If I knew what Paul was going to do, I would have pitched one too. That was after watching brother Paul throw a no-hitter in the second game of a doubleheader. Dizzy had pitched a 3-hitter in the first game after allowing the Dodgers no hits through 8 innings. He was very quotable. Became a broadcaster later on and a renowned, well, let me say this. He was renowned for being creative with the English language also. Spilborgh's pops to right, but the Rockies get home runs from Brad Hopp and Clint Barmes to even the score here in the 5th. 2-2, top of the 6th inning. The Rockies get home runs from Brad Hopp and Clint Barmas to tie it up. And De La Rosa has been on a roll as we look at our AT&T trivia question. What was the highest number of no-hitters thrown in a single major league season? Again, if you missed it last night, the reason our theme tonight is no-nos, and it's really been the theme of the 2010 season. There have been 5 no-hitters thrown this year, with Matt Garza's gem last night, George, for the Tampa Rays. And Tampa becomes it's the first no-hitter for Tampa in their history. There's now just 2 teams that haven't thrown a no-hitter.
Well, there's really a weird thing going on there, too, because Max Scherzer had a no-hitter. He was pitching against Garza in Tampa through 6, and then he gave up a grand slam.
That's how he lost it. I mean, there were no hits prior to that to load the bases.
Right.
The first hit was a slam.
Yeah. So they had it working down in Tampa.
1-0 on Jose Tabata. And he chops it off his foot. 11 in a row set down by De La Rosa. Last hit was a Kratz 1-out single in the 2nd inning. Do you believe throwing a no-hitter in the American League is more of an accomplishment than the National League? They're both. Listen, I know where you're driving. For me, the extra hitter in the American League, certainly it makes it more difficult. But if you throw a no-no, you tip the fedora.
It's pretty special. No question about it, to throw a no-hitter. I don't care if you throw it in Little League, it's special.
Sure. It's the 1-1, and this is bounced toward Tulowitzki, and it bounces. So Tabata reaches. And again, that's the first man to reach since Eric Kratz back in the 2nd inning. That'll bring up Neil Walker.
Floating across the middle, you look on the Hyundai cam, fielded cleanly by Tulowitzki. When he brought it up for the exchange, he checked the runner to see how quick he was going to have to get rid of the baseball, and just lost the grip coming out of the glove. Watch when this ball gets into the glove and he comes up. His head went to see where the runner was and just lost the grip on it.
That'll be the 6th error on Tulowitzki, and Tabata can run at first. He's got 10 stolen bases.
The Rockies catching staff 9th in the big leagues at throwing out runners.
Neil Walker had a bunt single in the 1st inning and then struck out in the 3rd. At one point, De La Rosa struck out 7 of 8. What do you think about Tulo at 3rd, Barmas at short, and Herrera at 2nd? I don't like that. Not yet. Not for about 8-9 years. I like Tulowitzki at short, and we kind of discussed this earlier. You can make Barmas a guy that you can utilize in different spots with what Johnny Herrera has brought to the table on both sides of the baseball.
Well, I do think, obviously, has earned the ability to play at this level. I mean, there's no question about that. Barmas hasn't done anything to lose his spot either. I mean, it's a tough juggling act. And for the first couple of weeks.
Ground ball to 3rd off of Melvin Mora, and that's going to be a hit. And now they're 2 on and nobody out. Garrett Jones, the cleanup hitter for the Pirates.
Now 2 left-handers coming up. It's going to help. They're 0 for 3 so far with a walk and a strikeout for De La Rosa now. Tough play for Moore at 3rd for any 3rd baseman. Of course, you just hope that error doesn't come back to haunt you in the inning.
Who wants tacos? Fans, remember, when the Rockies score 7 or more during any ball game, go to Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6 and get your Rockies taco special. Only at Taco Bell. Garrett Jones ground ball double play. Ground ball to short. Tulowitzki tagged the bag, went on to 1st. And he also had a ground ball to Brad Hopp. That pitch is in there for a strike on Jones. And this is a ground ball foul. Quickly a 2-strike count on Garrett Jones, 29-year-old. native of Illinois. If your windshield's hurting, call Safelite Auto Glass, 303-287-5000, online at safelite.com. Here's the 0-2, and it's pop foul. We just got word from the Rockies PR staff on Houston Street in Georgia. It sounds very encouraging. He has a right abdominal contusion. He was released from the hospital. He's listed as day-to-day. He's resting comfortably at home.
Well, it is good. I mean, what you got to do now, Bob Apodaca will be happy to hear that news, along with Jim Tracy, is the fact you just get swelling down. Reduce the bruising, and the quicker you can get back out here, because of the area it's in, it's just a rotational area in your delivery. So that's what makes it hard. Good news.
It sounds like good news, right? Abdominal contusion. Houston Street released from the hospital. He's at home. And this is going to be a big week for Houston. As this ball's lined to center field, a base hit for Jones, and here comes Tabata with the third run, and Jones into second with a double. 3-2 Pittsburgh. As Neil Walker goes to third, Tabata scores. Nobody outrunners at second and third. Bob Apodaca will have to go to the mound. And that error does prove costly.
And it does, even though they followed it up with a couple of base hits on balls that were hit fairly hard, particularly this one. Ball out into right center field, and Dexter Fowler able to get this ball and make a close play at second base on Jones. Now watch things in this infield, trying to set it up defensively to make sure you get the out of here, make the play. Well, you see what he's been able to do. First inning struggle a little bit, gave up some runs. Second inning cruise all the way through this fifth to the sixth inning. 72 total now, but 10 pitches later, an error, 2 base hits, and it's a 3-2 ball game. And you're getting into that area with the Pirates, and now you start to jump into that bullpen, which is pretty good.
Yeah, Pedro Alvarez at the plate, a walk and a strikeout. Nobody out. Foul back. Just to finish the thought on Houston, as we wish him well, it promises to be an enormous week. Houston's wife Lacey is due any day with their first child. Oh, and 2.
Well, there's nothing like experiencing the birth of your child. There's nothing like it. So, hi, Chris Ionetis, a lovely bride also. Expecting. Right now, De La Rosa trying to work out of this situation. Well ahead in the count, 0-2.
Big strikeout there of Alvarez. 1 out. That was punch out number 8 tonight for Jorge De La Rosa.
A good pitch by De La Rosa. A hard breaking slider away from a left-hander that quite honestly is trying to fight his way through this first experience at the big league level versus left-handers. 2 times tonight he has struck out against De La Rosa.
Lasting's Millage is 0 for 2. His last time up he struck out. Let's take a look at the Amika hits on Lasting's Millage. Amika, it's not how you're covered, it's how you're treated.
Well, you can see right where the Rockies are going to, particularly where he's had success. But has this been against right-handers or left-handers? You can see the red zone in here where he's had a lot of success chasing balls down and away. To me, that's a slider from the right-hander, an elevated fastball.
Millage has given the Rockies a rough ride in his career. In 11 games, he's hit .378 against Colorado pitching, 2-0.
Well, it shows, too, he's having a little bit of different approach with runners at second and third than he did in his previous at-bat, because the previous at-bat, he chased both of those pitches down and in. Now with runners in scoring position at second and third, he's being more selective and not as aggressive at the plate.
Three and 0, and if he loses Millage, not the worst thing in the world. You load the bases, you set up an opportunity to turn two. Ronnie Cedeno on deck, and the Rockies with a 3-0 go ahead and walk Millage. So to go in the books as an intentional walk, and that'll bring up Cedeno. Ground ball to short and a strikeout. (3-2) Pittsburgh. They've lost 4 in a row. They've lost 5 in a row on the road. And this is pop fouling out of play.
See, a lot of times as a manager, and Jim Tracy's talked an awful lot about this, you try to win a ball game, not just in the 9th inning, not just in the 8th inning, but your shot may be right now. So to bet to give De La Rosa his best chance to succeed, he put a guy that's hitting 400, nearly 400 with runners in scoring position on at first, and bring up a hitter who has struggled against left-handers, and hope you do just this.
Here's a double play ball. There's one. There's two. A good turn by Farmas around the bag. Cedeno busted it up the line, and the Rockies able to turn it over 6-4-3. So the strategy pays off. The Pirates do get a run. 3-2 they lead, middle of 6. Tulowitzki early in the ball game. Hasn't lost range or arm strength. Vintage Tulowitzki. That was the Frostbrewed Coors Light Freeze Cam. Rockies trailing 3-2. Bottom of the 6th inning. Carlos Gonzalez, Troy Tulowitzki, and Melvin Mora against Zach Duke.
By the way, the Pirates now 1 for 6 with the bases loaded. That says something else about their ability to score runs, which we mentioned last in all of baseball.
The Rockies have only 3 hits tonight against Duke, who's allowed the opposition, both from the right side, George, and the left side, to hit over 300 against him this year.
Yeah, just 3 hits given up in 5+ innings now, and he's ahead of Gonzalez with a slow slider at 71 miles an hour.
Gonzalez behind 0-2. Lefties have hit 321 against Duke this year. Righties have hit .325. He's given up 13 home runs. He was on the disabled list for a while with a strain in the elbow recently.
Well, you can see all three pitches of what they've tried to do. Everything hasn't just been a fastball to the outer half of the plate. You know, first pitch is a swing and a miss right here on a slider. Next one he took it a little bit farther. The last one he took a little bit farther. See where he goes with this pitch.
Strike three on the inside corner. It looked like a little cutter.
Nice job of pitching there by Duke. You got to tip your hat to him at times because he worked three pitches away, so he gets you looking away, and then when you see the ball in, you naturally give up. Drew mentioned it cut. You got the strike call.
AT trivia once again as Tulowitzki comes up. What was the highest number of no-hitters thrown in a single major league season? Well, we have two answers for you. If you go back to the 1880s, there was 8. And we would be remiss if we didn't tell you that the Pittsburgh Alleghenies, who I'm sure many of the Pirate fans used to follow, threw 2 that year. The modern era was 7 back in '91, and there's been 5 so far this year. And there really should have been 6 because of Armando Galarraga's perfect game.
That's exactly right, because of the missed call at first base.
There's the 0-1 on Troy, and that misses 1-1. Troy hit the ball on the button his last time up. Line shot. It was run down in right center field by Andrew McCutcheon, who's run down virtually everything, save the 2 balls hit over the wall by Brad Hopp and Clint Barnes. Another text message. What is meant when a player is designated for assignment in Colorado Springs?
It means they're sent out and they're not coming back, basically. You are exposed to the other 29 teams, and once you clear waivers, you're taken off the 40-man roster, so you're no longer protected. Oh, nice play by Alvarez. Watch this one.
Off the bat, though, is it? No, evidently not. That'll get Jim Tracy out. He was on the top step, ready to sprint, and here he comes. He didn't like Jeff Nelson's call.
Anytime you see a first baseman tiptoe back 3 different times, he's not sure of whether he got it or not. And that's what Jim's arguing. Did he hit dirt or did he hit the bag? That's the question. This ball sculled it. Alvarez knocks it down, and a lot of times when a kid has a strong arm, he'll throw a sailor. Yeah, he got it. He did get it. Look on the Hyundai cam. He's going to catch the baseball first, plant the right foot, push back to the bag to make sure he got it. Right there, he got it before Troy got to the bag.
And Tulowitzki's hit the ball hard twice. Nothing to show for it. Melvin Moore is 1 for 2. Takes a strike at the knees. Melvin's got the only knock for the Rockies that didn't involve a trot around the bases. The other 2 base runners for Colorado, a walk to Fowler in the 3rd and a walk to Gonzalez in the 4th. And this ball is hit well to left field indeed, but it will be tracked down by Tabata. And that's all for Colorado in the 6th inning. 3-2 Pirates. Most experience stjosephheart.org. By Big Brothers Big Sisters, be big and donate your car. You get a free tow and tax break, and you'll help change a kid's life. And by King Soopers, our people make the difference. This ball game moving along, but the Rockies are trailing 3-2 in their first ball game back, facing the Pirates for the first time this year. They'll see them 7 times over the next 2 weeks. Last year, Colorado played 9 games against the Bucks and went 6-3, 5-1 here at Coors Field. Eric Kratz is 1 for 2. He lined out the short his last time. In all likelihood, this will be the last inning of work for Jorge De La Rosa. Folks, you kind of hope it is, and that's not to take a shot at De La Rosa. It's just that he's up 4th next inning with the Rockies trailing. If they go 1-2-3, and you could conceivably see him again, but that's why I said that. You really hope the Rockies bring a lot of guys to the plate and have to pinch hit for De La Rosa next inning.
Well, and you understand what John Russell's doing. LaRoche is out in the on-deck circle to pinch hit, a right-handed hitter. He's given you 6 innings. He's given up 3 hits. He's given up 2 runs, both home runs. He's got an all-star type bullpen down there. And with Meek, Evan Meek, he's a guy that was an all-star. And Drew mentioned earlier, he ran it up to 100 miles an hour at times. He's getting loose to come on and pitch the bottom half of the 7th, and they'll either go to Gallagher or they will go to Hanrahan for the 8th, and then they will flip the switch over to Dotel into the 9th.
And Kratz didn't bite. 1-2.
Make sure that you don't miss out on an opportunity to Savages will be around the excitement of the Rockies in the second half. You can purchase a 15-game mini plan at 303 Rockies or ColoradoRockies.com. Do that now. I will say this, Kratz has had 2 very good at-bats against De La Rosa. He had a base hit up the middle in the 2nd inning, and then in the 5th inning, he had a line drive right at Tulowitzki. So much responsibility is shouldered by a young catcher when he comes to the big league, and the emphasis is more spent on time learning your staff and the opposition's hitters. That's why so many of them struggle with the bat when they first come up. Although Buster Posey hasn't had a problem, and the Giants have played great since he's taken over as a catcher.
He's been a big part of their resurgence. 2-2 on Kratz. And he hits this pretty well, but it's right at Spilborghs. 1 out. Take a look at tonight's Quest high-speed pitch. De La Rosa's touched 96. That's not Zach Duke's game. He's not a hard thrower. All of that is brought to you by Quest, the high-speed internet provider of the Colorado Rockies. 1 out, and Andy LaRoche will be the pinch hitter for Zach Duke. Two outs. That'll bring up Andrew McCutchen. He'll take us to another text message. It's a horrible thing that happened to Houston. Who will be the main closer for the Rockies now? Jake in Denver. Well, you're talking right now about tonight, and Houston Street again with an abdominal contusion listed as day-to-day. It could be Corpus. It could be Belisle. It could be a committee thing. You know, you could see Beimel if there's 2 left-handed hitters due up in the 9th inning, and Beimel hasn't been utilized yet. I know Jim Tracy's not adverse to mixing and matching.
Well, and no, and that's the thing. If it takes 3 guys to get 3 outs in the 9th, he will do that.
Here's the 1-0. That's at the knees for a strike. Again, during batting practice today, Ian Stewart hit a line drive down the right field line that got Houston Street in the lower right abdomen region. And initially he was standing up, and then he went down and evidently passed out a couple of times. He was brought to Rose Hospital. And after a number of tests, he was released. He's relaxing at home. And he's been listed as day-to-day. 2-1 on McCutcheon, and fouled off. 2-2. Houston, unfortunately, on that last road trip, didn't get much work. In fact, his last outing was just to get work because the Rockies were behind for a number of days. Tonight, they're trying to snap a 6-game losing streak. It's their worst stretch in a couple of years. They never lost 6 straight in 2009 when they won 92 ball games. 15-4 their last 19 at home. I know the Pirates, George, have a miserable record, but this is one guy at the plate that you want to build around. And if you're a fan, you pay to see his kid play.
Well, you do, and I think this is something that people realize, the type of player that he is. And again, they may be last in a lot of categories, but they're still a big league baseball team, so they're better than a lot of other guys that are out playing. He can flat fly.
He made that close play, and he hit it hard to Mora. Stretch time at Coors Field, 3-2 Pirates. Both of the Rockies' runs came on solo home runs. In fact, back-to-back solo home runs from Brad Hopp and Clint Barmes. Bottom of the 7th inning. The Rockies will have Olivo, Hopp, and Barmes. Who Wants Tacos? Fans, if you'd like to receive text message alerts when the Rockies score 7 or more runs for the Rockies Taco Special, text the keyword taco to 95323.
Well, the right-hander comes into the ballgame for the Pittsburgh Pirates, Evan Meek, an all-star. 2008, 2009, pitched in 50 ball games for the Pirates. This year has come on for their ball club and has pitched very, very well, obviously. Making it to the All-Star game, 4-3 with a 130 earned run average in 46 ball games, 55 1/3, so multiple innings thrown by Meek. 49 strikeouts. He's given up 3 home runs and just 14 walks in this whole deal. 46,608 here at the ballpark tonight. A great crowd to watch the Rockies and Pirates.
Hey, that's just under a sellout. 2-0 as Meek misses on a 94-mile-an-hour fastball against Olivo. Let's hope the 46,000 are like a 10th man tonight for the Rockies. Down a run here in the bottom of the 7th. And Olivo taking the whole way, 2-1.
He can run the fastball. He will run it up to 98 miles an hour at times. Typically sits in the 90 to 95 mile an hour range. He has a cutter at 96. Curveball that runs 77 to 82, a power curveball. There's another heater in on the fist at 94 miles an hour. If there's a slider, he'll run up to 86, comfortably sets 83. Joe Beimel, the left-hander, starting to pop up for the Rockies down in the bullpen. Left-handed Magic's worked pretty good against the Pirates so far for 7 innings. Like to continue that with the way it's set up. Jones and Alvarez hitting 3 and 4 next inning.
This ball a bullet to deep left center field, and it's going to roll to the wall. Olivo to second with a leadoff double. Boy, did he put a charge in that one. Tying run at second base, Miguel Olivo. Yeah, he was robbed of maybe a double his last time up by McCutcheon. Not this time, though. Our Coors Light Cold Hard Blast, the home run from Brad Hopp. And then a moment later, the home run from Clint Barmes. 6 and 8, respectively. Coors Light Cold Hard Blast. And now Brad Hopp can tie up this baseball game with a knock here. Olivo runs well. He's at second. Seven-year-old Evan Meek, minuscule ERA, and the opposition not hitting much against him.
Good fastball, good stuff to work out of the bullpen. No, not to overexpose the guy, although he's pitched a number of innings in those ball games. 49 ball games, 55 plus. Six saves in his career, all those in the minor leagues prior to this year. There's 1 save in his big league career.
A ground ball slowly hit. That'll work to get Olivo to third. Even though it's on the left side, a good read by Miguel Olivo. And now Barmes will come up with a chance to get Olivo home in a variety of ways. And they're looking in the dugout right now, the Pittsburgh infield, to see how John Russell wants to play it. They're going to come in halfway, George.
Well, you understand that because pretty much everybody on this infield, and Jones is an outfielder that comes in and plays first base at times, they all have average or above average arms. Olivo is an average runner, so they'd like to stay back at halfway to expand their ability to knock the ball down and have a play at the plate.
Barmes takes ball 1. Clint naturally be looking to lift the baseball. Seth Smith is in the on-deck circle. He hit a 2-run home run in the 9th last night against Brad Lidge, or yesterday afternoon, to be more accurate. Rockies loaded the bases, and it was 5-4 after the home run against Lidge. Unfortunately, they couldn't push across the equalizer. They loaded the bases on Sunday afternoon against Brad Lidge, also in the 9th inning. He's living dangerously.
Yeah, back-to-back days, but that's part of history. You got to not worry about. Come in here today at home against the Pirates and try to get a hit to win this game.
Here's the 2-0. Good swing by Barmes.
Pretty good fastball.
97. Reach back for a little bit more. 2-2. Rockies left 10 on yesterday. They left 12 on the day before. Both one-run losses. Swept by the Phils in 4. Lost 3 of 4 in Florida, 2 of 3 in Cincinnati. Trying to get healthy back here at home.
Barmes this year is at 298, nearly 300 with runners in scoring position. 0 and 1 out, 297. How about consistency with 2 outs, 298?
Barnes with that home run in his last at bats, now an 0 for 16 slide. Two. Last two have arrived at the plate at 98 miles an hour from Evan Meek.
Well, that's what you want on a guy typically that you're grooming to become a closer. That has a blow-away fastball and a swing and miss secondary pitch. He has 2 of those, a slider and a cutter.
Ground ball to third, and Oliva will have to hold. And now it'll come down to this matchup of Evan Meek and Mr. Late Night, Seth Smith.
Well, you get the matchup you want, which is a very good fastball hitting batter against a very good fastball of Meek. Smith has been one of those guys that rises to the occasion. Yesterday, he did it in the 9th inning off Lidge, a fastball to the middle of the plate, and it was crushed. Lidge, everybody in the ballpark knew this ball was gone when it left the bat. 6 for 23, 2 home runs, and 11 RBIs as a pinch hitter. Well, Joe Kerrigan out there, he's the pitching coach. Used to work in Boston. He's been with Montreal for a number of years. He's had the opportunity here for a couple of years to be the pitching coach with the Pirates.
Final line on Jorge De La Rosa, George, is very good. 7 innings, 3 runs, 2 earned, 6 hits. He walked 2. One of those was intentional. He struck out 8. He had a wild pitch, which was very costly. That's when that second run came around in the 1st inning. But back-to-back very good starts for De La Rosa. So here we go. Meek against Smith with Olivo at third and 2 outs. High ball 1.
If you're confident in your ability as a reliever and as a manager, you could walk Smith and eliminate him and then send Fowler up to the plate. Now, I know you might end up getting Giambi, but then you just take away, which is one of the best production per at-bat hitters in the game, and Seth Smith after the 7th and beyond.
Yeah, when Joe Kerrigan came out for that conversation, I don't think you'd get Giambi yet. I think Jim Tracy would save him for the 9th inning.
Well, it depends if you're trying to win right now. If he's more comfortable running Giambi up right now to win the ball game and let his bullpen win it.
Well, you have to believe some of that conversation was about the fact that in the on-deck circle you have a guy who's been struggling, particularly from the left side. And Smith is not seeing anything close. It's 3-0.
So now you force the situation because Smith, obviously it's an easy change out. If you want to use Giambi, Smith goes and plays in the outfield and Giambi comes up. If you want to go that route.
You have Stewart available also if you do make a change. You even have Jonathan Herrera, who's giving you a lot of good at bats. Ball 4. Despite all the speculation, it will be Dexter Fowler. So an opportunity here for Dexter. 1st and 3rd, 2 outs. Managers always talk about, George, as you well know, late in the ball game, who don't you want to beat you? And if you're John Russell, you know what Seth Smith can do. Dexter Fowler's still a young, developing player, particularly from this side of the plate. And yeah, you put the go-ahead run on. But I think John Russell would rather say Dexter Fowler's got to beat me, not Seth Smith.
Well, there's no question. I think that's why he pitched him the way he did. And now of the three guys from the left side that can beat you consistently, you've eliminated it down to two, and that is with Giambi and Stewart with one swing of the bat.
On Dexter. Fowler tonight is 0 for 2 and a walk. 3 for his last 41 at the plate. Meek taking his time.
Well, he knows he doesn't want to keep going down this lineup. I think that's where he's at right now. Fowler's the guy that he wants. Really collecting his thoughts to make sure. They're giving a lot of signs now on whether they would throw through in case Smith would try to steal. Well, it would be a surprising move by me unless they don't hold him on. And if he does go as a pitcher-catcher combination, you let him have second because you're concerned to the plate to go ahead and get that final out. You don't need to throw the ball away into center field trying to attempt to get the third out.
Foul ball hit off of Dexter. 2-2. They just trying to wear him out, George, inside, and that's where Dexter has really struggled to be able to cover that pitch down and in, whether it be a slider or something with velocity, plus velocity.
Well, plus, that's the key, what you just said, plus velocity, 92 to 95 range, with the ability to run it in and both go high and low. I think that's one thing. You see Dexter's numbers. He's 3 for 41 his last 41 at bats with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. He's hit $154 this year.
Two and two. And it's a comebacker to Meek. So Evan Meek works out of it, and the Rockies leave Olivo at third, Smith at first. They trail 3-2 as we go to the 8th. Cooney Lexus look back. First inning was a rough one for Jorge De La Rosa. It was an RBI single by Jose Tabata. And then on a wild pitch, a second run scored for the Pirates. Tabata comes around. The Rockies would get even, a solo home run from Brad Hopp. And then the very next hitter, Clint Barmas, went to virtually the same spot. Third time or fourth time this year the Rockies have gone back-to-back. But here's the go-ahead run. A double last inning for the Pirates. Garrett Jones scoring Tabata, who reached on an error by Troy Tulowitzki. 3-2. Pittsburgh is where we stand as we go to the top of the 8th inning. That look back again brought to you by Cooney Lexus, where luxury has an address. Tonight's call to the pen is brought to you by Xfinity Voice. Unlimited local and long distance calling. Call 1-800-XFINITY. Beimel to face Tabata, Neil Walker, and Garrett Jones.
His ability to get right-handers out, this is what buys him this one-run appearance where he comes in tight ball games. 45th appearance for Joe. 30 1/3 innings over those 44 appearances, an earned run average of 2.67. Just one home run given up this year. Don't mean to jinx, hope I don't.
This ball's hit well right center field. Spilborghs will get there. Oh, hung up. And Ryan got there. One out. Neil Walker will approach. Again, that big hit, George, which eluded the Rockies on their 11-game excursion, has eluded them tonight. Last inning they couldn't get it. Barmas had a lengthy at bat and then hit the hard ground ball at Alvarez. And then Dexter Fowler, after the walk to Smith, was unable to come through.
Well, again, you had a couple of opportunities to tie the ball game up and possibly win the ball game. You never know, you get an inning going. One thing about the 8th inning, and Hanrahan's warming up down there for the Pirates. In that 8th inning, the Rockies will send up Spilborghs, Gonzalez, and Tulowitzki.
Count of 1-1 on Neil Walker. Third highest rookie batting average coming in at .301. Are we buyers or sellers in this year's trade market? Joe in Colorado Springs wants to know. Well, right now, I mean, despite the bad road trip, the Rockies still believe that there's plenty of time, and there is 63 games to reach all of their preseason goals.
Trying to nullify the power by taking the ball up and away from him above where his strength is. Talking about Neil Walker, and that is a ball up and out of the strike zone. Makes it difficult for him to get on top of, much like a left-handed bat. Now after going away, you try to run the heater in.
This ball's crushed left center field and deep, and it's now 4-2 Pittsburgh. Fourth home run this year for Neil Walker.
Well, just the second one that Joe Beimel has given up. I think that's very commendable on Joe's part. But again, this pitch, let's look where it was and see if it went to the spot they were hoping for. They want this pitch right down here in this area, down and in on the hitter, and it seemed to appear to stay out over the plate. And he really cleared that front side when he went down to get the pitch to drive the ball. All you could do is become a spectator if you're inside the white lines.
Garrett Jones takes a strike. It's the second home run all year against Joe Beimel. The go-ahead double in his last at bat. Spilborghs makes the catch, 2 outs. That'll bring up Pedro Alvarez. Let's check in again with Alana Rizzo. Alana?
All right, guys, thanks very much. 2 nice grabs there by Ryan Spilborghs in the outfield in this half inning. The Rockies have had 5 different outfielders start at least 40 games in the outfield this season. It's a matter of having to switch around the lineup for Jim Tracy, which he's had to do all season long for various reasons. And that's what we talked about at the beginning of the season, how deep this outfield was. And despite the fact that there's been so many out there on a day-to-day basis, statistically they rank in the top 5 in the National League in several team batting categories. A nice problem to have, guys.
All right, Alana, thank you. 0-1 the count on Alvarez. Rockies have 6 outs to work with offensively, now trailing 4-2. They've been out hit 7-4. And Alvarez lifts one to shallow right. Neil Walker, the Pittsburgh native, former #1 pick of the Pirates back in 2004, has expanded the Bucs lead 4-2. Field. Joel Hanrahan is now on for the Pirates. More on Hanrahan in a moment. Let's take a look at today's Haynes Comfort Zone. Well, Manuel Corpus has been up and down this year. Of late, he's pitched very well. 8 innings pitched. He's given up just 1 run, covering 7 appearances. He struck out 9, walked just 2. So Manuel really in a comfort zone of late. He's brought to you by Haynes.
There's Joel Hanrahan, the big right-hander, making his 45th appearance. You can see the strikeouts. There's a lot of them. 59 and 42 2/3. Just 14 walks. He has given up 4 long balls. The opposition has had difficulty making solid contact.
This is his 6th appearance since the All-Star break. He has 5 clean appearances since the All-Star game. 0-1 on Spilborghs. He'll be followed by Gonzalez and then Tulowitzki. Spilborghs is 0 for 3. A line out, a ground out, and a fly ball to right field. Hanrahan's fastball at 98. This is the strength of the Pirates. Their bullpen. And their closer, 36-year-old Octavio Dotel. Zach Duke went 6 innings, allowed the 2 home runs and a single by Mora. Just 3 hits against Duke tonight. He walked 2, struck out 4. And this ball is hit well to left field, and it is missed by Tabata. Spilborghs to second, and he's going to try to get to third. He is out. You cannot have that happen there. He was out by a bunch. Not down 2 runs. I know Ryan's trying to make something positive happen, George, but you can't make that out at third base.
Well, that's why you have a third base coach over there to begin with. And again, this ball's hit out to left field, misplayed by Tabata. You can see it goes under his glove and his body out to the wall. Now watch Spilborghs. He's looking at the ball the whole way, trying to outrun it, and realized about halfway over he'd made a mistake, and then the perfect relay throws into third base, and they're able to get Spilborghs.
One out. Gonzalez at the plate. Seven, 6-5 on that putout. 2-0 on Carlos Gonzalez with Tulowitzki on deck. Carr goes 0 for 2 and a walk. He catches the zone at 97, 2-1.
Hanrahan, 16 holes, is tied for 7th in the National League.
And another one. We've had the opportunity to impress a big crowd tonight and get them on your side. The Rockies have failed to do that other than the back-to-back home runs, 3 and 2. More than 46,000, close to 47,000 in the house. Colorado just 2 runs on 5 hits. And a base running mistake cost the Rockies, and an easy play by Walker. Tulowitzki in his return is 0 for 3, though he's hit the last 2 hard. Why do some parks use chalk down the lines and others use paint? Why doesn't Major League Baseball mandate the use of chalk?
I could not agree with you more. I could not agree with you more. I think the Rockies use a little bit of this chalk at times. Is way down the right field and left field lines, but I'd like to see it every day put out. They used to bury a fire hose down some of them and run chalk over the top of it.
And Tulowitzki hits it to short. 8 innings complete at Coors Field. The Pirates, with the worst road record in baseball, leading the Rockies 4-2. Can save you 15% or more on car insurance. Buy steel in your local steel dealers. For a location near you, visit steeldealers.com. And by Hyundai Uncensored, real people, real comments on the 2011 Hyundai Sonata. Visit your Colorado Hyundai dealers today. Rockies trailing 4-2, top of the 9th inning. Matt Belisle will throw the 9th. After the ball game, the post-game report. report. Check in with Mark Stout.
Yeah, guys, the Rockies walking the plank, looking at another loss to the Pirates, and it's been bottoms up, the bottom of the order. The only part of the Rockies batting order that's produced. We'll also get you the word on street, Houston Street situation and its condition. That's all coming up in the postgame. Drew?
All right, Mark, thank you. The Rockies coming in have won 9 of their last 10 encounters with the Pirates here at Coors Field. The Pirates, folks, are 11-38 on the road. It is the worst road record in baseball. In fact, they have lost 24 of their last 26 as you eyeball Matt Belisle's numbers this year.
Well, John Russell trying to change the fortune of this organization, trying to make moves that's going to make them a better ball club and manage this team the way it's supposed to be managed, because he's been extended a year on his contract.
At some point, you have to have stability. Jim Tracy managed in Pittsburgh for a couple of years.
They lost 95 one-run ball games in Pittsburgh while Jim managed them.
They don't have enough talent. You can run all the managers through you want, but until you have enough talent, enough pitching in particular, you're going to have a real hard time competing. We've got a very good performance tonight from Zach Duke, who historically has not only struggled with the Rockies, but he's not pitched well at Coors Field.
He pitched well on the road in his career. He's won 41 ball games. He's lost. He's only won 13 on the road and lost 35. But you know what? He's a left-hander that goes out typically every year, and he's going to win in that 8 to 10 range, and sometimes sneak up in the 11 to 12 range.
Millage with a 2-2 count. There's the longtime right-handed reliever Octavio Dotel. Chopped to short. Here comes Tulowitzki. Throws a howitzer over to Hop, 1 out. Ronnie Cedeno will come to the plate. Our poll question tonight from Breaks Plus: how should a walk-off win be celebrated? Calmly and quietly, or with great enthusiasm? And you know what? I know there was the injury to Morales, Kendry Morales, earlier this year with the Angels, but you know what? A walk-off win, I have no problem with the celebration at home plate. And I think one of the problems with the NFL, I think lately, is that they're trying to legislate out emotion. It's nice to see guys who oftentimes are paid very well to get excited about a win in the midst of 162 ball games.
I don't care about the celebrations. I think they're wonderful. I really do. It's a big moment. You just won a ball game. You just got a base hit to win the ball game. It's a huge moment.
Yep. Repair that chip in your windshield. Do it now. Call Safelight Auto Glass at 303-287-5000 or go to safelight.com. 2 outs for Belisle. Eric Kratz, the catcher, at the plate. The Rockies have Melvin Mora, Miguel Olivo, and Brad Hop due up in the 9th. Barm is scheduled after that. Rockies still have Giambi on the bench, and Stewart will go to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Rockies trailing 4-2. The Rockies have not done much again with the bats tonight. A couple of hits on, or just a couple of runs on 5 hits, and both of the runs scoring on home runs, one by Hop, one by Barmes. Neil Walker's solo home run in the 8th to extend the Pirates' lead to 4-2. Rockies have 3 outs to work with. They'll try to rally against Octavio Dotel.
39 appearances on the season, 20 of 25, just 2 saves shy of a career high of 22 that he had in an Oakland uniform. Excuse me, he had a career high of 36. I got to remember he's traded from Houston to Oakland that year in 2004. Since then, he's battled a lot of injuries. The high of the season was 11. So he's coming on to close this ball game. You see a high earned run average, still the ability to strike out, a lot of deception. His fastball at times will jump up into the mid-90s, but comfortably sit 88, 92 with movement. Slider, curveball to go along with it.
All you need to know about Dotel and his career, George, coming into this season in 770 in the 3rd innings, he had struck out 940.
Well, and again, that was before a lot of the injuries started to settle in. And since then, and of course, the number of innings he's mounted up and the number of games he's pitched in, he still has the swagger of a closer. That's half the battle.
Well, last year he had a very sound season with the White Sox, 62 1/3. He struck out 75. He's in a setup role there. 0-1 on Mora. Last 2 years with the White Sox. He's pitched for both New York teams. His longest stint was in Houston between 2000 and 2004.
If you're wondering why Jim Tracy chose not to send Stewart up, Moore in his career against Dotel hitting .444.
2 balls and a strike. Stewart's got a helmet on. Hop will hit after Olivo. This ball is hit well to center field. McCutchen on the run, and he's going to get there.
He's caught balls where most people take cabs to go get them. Man,
he's put on a performance tonight. In an enormous outfield, you need to have a guy like a Dexter Fowler, Carlos Gonzalez, or this kid, Andrew McCutchen, run it down.
When he goes and gets this ball, he just drops the head, one glance back to look to see the distance, and then runs to get it. Watch his concentration once he gets to that area where he knows he's close to the baseball. Olivo, they've met up numerous times, but he's 0 for 9. Not quite the success Mora has had.
And a 2-strike count on Miguel Olivo. Dodgers Padres playing in San Diego. They're in the 3rd inning, scoreless. The Giants in the 4th inning at home leading the Marlins 2-0.
7 of the next 10 games between the Dodgers and Padres. How about that?
2 outs. Well, if you're the Rockies, you have to take care of your own house before you can start scoreboard watching. 2 outs, and that'll bring up Brad Hop. Looking to reach to give Giambi a chance. I know Barmes is in the on-deck circle, but if Brad reaches, you'll see Jason Giambi. Strike 1 on Hop. A home run in the 5th inning. 1 for 3 tonight. And this ball lined to left field, and over the head of Tabata. It'll be a double for Hop. And Giambi will come to the plate representing the tying run.
Twice Hop now has gone on to break a ball down and floated and stayed right on this baseball. Full swings, massive swings. One leads the park. This one hops the wall in left field. And here's your shot to do it. Giambi will be up with Hop at second base. It should be history between these two, obviously. Bertel and Giambi, just 2 at-bats. That's surprising. Of course, teammates when they were in Oakland, maybe at that time before they left.
And in New York.
And in New York. So he's only in New York, though, for 14 ball games.
He's had a big month of July. You think of a couple of runs for the Pirates in this game, George. And Tulowitzki's bobble, which is so unusual for Troy. I know he's been out. And the wild pitch in the first inning that De La Rosa uncorked that allowed the second run to score. And another pitch in there. Quickly, it's 2 strikes on Giambi. Big month of July for Jason. Stewart out on deck, hoping for a chance. Giambi started yesterday at first base, had an RBI single in the first. Rockies got a 2-0 jump on Joe Blanton. Unfortunately, didn't score again until the 9th inning. Jason walked 3 other times in the game. 1-2. And it's popped up to left field. Playable for Jose Tabata. And the Pirates win the ball game 4-2. And the Rockies' woes continue. A 2-9 road trip, and now they come home and lose to the Bucks. 4-2 final. The Rockies have lost 7 in a row. Andrew McCutchen played a marvelous center field tonight. And Zach Duke, 6 innings of 2-run baseball, and then a very good Pirate bullpen closed out the Rockies in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. Tonight's delivery of the game is brought to you by Jimmy John's. In the 6th inning, this double provides the difference. Garrett Jones, as he brings home Tabata, who had reached on an error. Final score 4-2. Duke improves to 5-9. De La Rosa takes the loss. He's 3-2. Dotel picks off his 21st save. Stick around.